If you've ever been told that ADHD is just an excuse, or worse, that your brain is just like everyone else's and you should just be able to power through, I want you to know something. You're not imagining your struggles. You're not lazy. Your brain is just different. Science says so. Today, we're unpacking a claim from a recent New York Times article that says ADHD brains are no different from neurotypical ones. We're going to look at what the research actually says, from brain structure to function to chemistry. And we're going to do it without shame, sensationalism, or stereotypes, just neuroscience and compassion. On April 13th, the New York Times published a piece suggesting that ADHD brains aren't meaningfully different than non-ADHD brains, and implied that this whole thing might be overblown. Here's the problem. That argument ignores decades of research from neuroscience, psychiatry, and developmental psychology, including research as recently as 2022 and 2023, when our ability to study the brain has been more enhanced than it ever has been. The article cherry picks findings, overlooks large sample studies, and doesn't reflect how ADHD actually shows up in the brain. So let's start with the structure. A massive MRI study of over 3,200 participants found that ADHD brains are slightly smaller in key areas like the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, which has to do with emotions, and the reward centers like the nucleus accumbens. This isn't damage, it's developmental delay. These regions mature more slowly in ADHD brains. One study from the NIH found the cortex, especially the parts that handle planning and impulse control, can be delayed by up to 3 years in ADHD kids. That's not a discipline problem, that's a neurodevelopment. Functionally speaking, ADHD brains underactivate in executive function networks. When a neurotypical brain lights up to focus on a task, an ADHD brain might idle. Other regions, like the default mode network, the daydream network, don't shut down as smoothly, which makes it harder for people with ADHD brains to stay present. And then there's the chemistry. ADHD is heavily linked to dopamine and norepinephrine imbalances. These are two neurotransmitters, and actually dopamine more specifically is a neuromodulator, but they're basically neurochemicals in the brain that help us feel focused, motivated, and regulate attention. In ADHD brains, dopamine often gets swept away too fast, or the receptors don't pick it up as efficiently. So it feels like you need a fire under you just to get started. It's not just a mindset, it's neurochemical. Further, we know that the norepinephrine is not moved fast enough, so that can keep you in this kind of fight or flight type of urgency, which can exacerbate focus difficulties already existing in ADHD brain. So all of this adds up to a truth that the New York Times article missed. ADHD is not a behavior issue. It's not a moral failing. It's not a parenting issue. It's a legitimate, measurable neurodevelopmental condition. Your brain processes time, motivation, emotion, and attention differently. And that difference is real, doesn't mean broken. You can work with your brain. You can regulate, build systems, and create a life that honors how your mind works. If you're tired of fighting your brain and ready to work with it instead, I have something for you. If you check out the description, you can access my free 5-step Taskmaster plan to help you work with your ADHD brain to be able to get stuff done. Like I said, you can check it out in the link below. And hey, don't let anyone gaslight you out of your own experience. Your brain is real, your challenges are real, and so is your strength. Sending you tons of positive energy, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.